Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. This is September 6th, 2024. It's also Friday. So I want to wish you a good weekend ahead of time, but also to announce I will not likely be making a video for Sunday. I've got a couple of things going on. I think will probably make it impossible for me to be able to get that out. So I just want to mention that. First off, second, we've got huge data incoming, a lot of things. So I'd like to discuss that hopefully prior to market open so that it is of use to you, particularly if you do pre-market trading, because it's quite large. So let's get into this. Starting with a favorite risk indicator, unfortunately, is down right now. The MMRI is being worked on at the moment, but this was the last level that we had, falling 236.6. Along with the fear greed meter, we can look at the elements of it and kind of pull out what's going on here. So lower in the neutral territory now, the fear greed meter, this for the stock market specifically, heading towards fear. So we've had a pretty large pullback again yesterday. It is kind of breaking trends and also breaking levels. So we'll talk about this in a moment. For now, I want to go back to the 10-year yield. Right now, also dropping 3.7 at the moment, and the relative strength of the dollar as well dropping. We've got cryptocurrencies also under a hit. And we're going to go into a little bit more of what's going on. We're starting to see more weakness in the stocks this morning. We've got gold is strong. This is fear trade coming in. Volatility index increasing, money going into gold. Oil up a little bit, but it's still very weak. So with this, we've got some good buys that are going to be incoming with these. We've got futures also showing the weakness. Now, we've got the reported Dow futures slip ahead of key jobs report as investors brace for signs of a slowing labor market. Well, we're getting this jobs report for August. Payrolls expected to rebound after hurricane. Well, if that's what you want to call it, that would make a little bit of sense, but it's not one event that caused this. I must think we are on something if we're going to buy that line. However, we've got some larger things I would like to go over. The first, I had mentioned yesterday, a while ago, and this is the yield curve inversion normalizing. Now, basically what's going on, the recession incoming, the fantasy of a perfect landing is being exposed. So people are realizing, we're going to have some kind of interesting times ahead. It's not going to be so simple. We've got another, what I've been bringing up, not many are speaking about. This is a global matter. And really what we need to watch more importantly, in my opinion, is going back to the real economy. First off, trade. Secondly, currencies for global currencies on the trade. We've got China is showing serious markers that they're going into a deflationary cycle. Basically, they're about to go into a depression as well. And with all of this, it's going to affect what they manufacture, material supplies, and what we get. But that's going a little bit ahead. So for today, let's go to our calendar. We're getting U.S. employment report, early wages, and then we're going to have a couple of Fed presidents speak. Most of this is prior to market open, but we're getting Waller speaking at 11 a.m. And I expect him to be used as kind of a market management, if you will. They always do this. We've got some earnings coming out pre-market, but these will pale in comparison to what they put out for the jobs. Now, I want to go over these reports a little bit. Now, we've got the jobs report may show hiring bounce and decide the size of the Fed cut. So this is what the market is looking to. However, if this job report shows true weakness, then it's basically going to expose where it's heading forward to. The depression might be a bit of panic, and that is what they're going to avoid. So they use the words, even if it goes up a little bit, that's still considered a bounce, and all they need is for it to be better than expected. Now, we've got this propaganda coming out from Yellen. She's saying the labor market is still healthy, amid a rise in unemployment. That's because they're not reporting proper numbers. We've known this. The Bureau of Labor Statistics comes out with numbers that are cooked. Working within those parameters, because this is the game they play, we have to understand what is happening below this. So we've got Fed Goolsbee saying that trending economic data justifies multiple rate cuts starting soon. So he's looking at more of what is actually going on between the shipping and the other numbers. The jobs report, the size of it will determine the Fed rate cuts. Now, I want to look at what they're expecting as far as rate cuts here, or pardon me, job numbers and coming down. So this report, they've got 161,000. Prior to this, they were predicting 174,000 jobs. Well, now they just did a cut. Now they're expecting more, putting on the expectations, lower jobs numbers. And if they lower that number really rapidly, then it can still be better than expected. When the market hears, oh, it's better than expected, they do okay. So the determining factor that they're expecting now is between quarter half point in September. They're not making that decision today, but the market will be pricing it in to possibly more rate cuts through the year. So given this background of what's going on, we've still got Asia and Europe markets this morning prior to open are in the red. Crude staying below $70, even though it's improving slightly. Oil very weak. That's showing demand, global demand, and the economy basically expecting more of a recession, less demand. The dollar weakening is on the inflationary reports. That may temporarily hold the stock market on high because of the inflation. However, it won't hold. We've got global markets today. They're weak. They're definitely weak and looking for a continuation. So yesterday broke some trends down on levels and kind of looking towards what is happening this morning. Now, I think that with this, a lot of the reports, propaganda, and things coming out will all cycle around politics. And while politics should not have that much to do with the market, I think it's going to guide it, because I do not think they will allow a crash, so to speak, a full crash prior to the selection cycle in November. We'll see what happens. So with this, we've got a couple of stories coming out. Trump wants to create a government efficiency commission led by Musk. Now, government efficiency are just two words that don't belong in the same sentence together unless you're talking a lack thereof. They are an oxymoron for certain. So, but what they're talking about is if they're elected, cutting 10 government regulations for every new one implemented. That in itself is a bit ironic if you really read it and pay attention to it. So, yes, law regulation would be good in general, but the whole thing is, we'll see what happens. We also had Vladimir Putin spoke at an economic conference, the Eastern Conference, and basically supporting Harris, but not giving an all-out basically endorsement, but just saying that he said a few positive things about her. Now, this is a masterful move on his part. He understands this man was former KGB. He has been in power for multiple years, multiple administrations through the United States. This man is no dummy. So basically, to think that these politicians can play within his realm in this matter, my personal opinion, she doesn't have a chance. So he's playing this pre-move because they've been blaming Russia for basically meddling in the elections, which you're not supposed to do. He also adamantly stands against that and states so. So whether you believe that or not, he's making a very smart move by doing this. Going forward to a Gaza deal, we've got Blinken saying that we're heading towards peace on this truce. See it when you believe it. That news will have an effect. We're based on a war economy. In fact, on the back of this, they've also got the Pentagon leaders going to Germany for talks on more aid to Ukraine, talking about weapons, packages, and again, Germany. So between the economy that's going on there, the energy issues, and now the fights on the back end, you put that together and you can see the real picture of what is going on here. With this, couple of off stories just to start your weekend with. We've got, I've always kind of liked this guy, to be honest. I am a fan of MMA. So Conor McGregor, he's revealed he may have Irish presidency plans and that he would attempt to hold the lawmakers, politicians there accountable. Good luck to him. I would love to think that that's real. I fully support that. The bigger picture is that there are people willing to stand and do this. And it's a lot more than what we're being led to believe. In the mainstream media, basically pumping it out, you don't have a chance and you shouldn't stand against them. And that's not the truth at all. We've also got back in the United States, a couple of Virginia guardsmen running a rural anti-government militia now. I want to say this is a local county approved. States do have the powers to do these things. They are on warnings with a couple of things to watch, basically their behavior. However, they are in full service at the moment, and this is within the guidelines. But I'm bringing this up just to show you that there is not one single area. Basically, have faith. Things look dire, they can turn around. And when they want us to eat this new form of protein they're coming out with, they finally got an actual study saying that Westerners find it still with disgust, in their own words, the thought of eating them. And that arguably that's the main reason why ever since United Nations began pushing it as a sustainable protein source, it hasn't really gone anywhere. There is a company called Protix, Protix, Dutch company. They do basically, that is their business for this insect protein. They're partnering with Tyson Foods, hoping to expand, but realizing people don't want it. It is in a lot of foods. They just are very careful about how they list it in the ingredients. But they've gone to basically being the feed for the food, meaning they are feeding it to shrimp for their production and also chickens, which is fine in my eyes. That's a little more natural to what it's supposed to be. So with that, I want to just remind you, we'll see you Sunday. I wish you all a green day, wonderful day in general. Please remember, until I see you again, stay free.